Hello, this is Mr. Stein. In this video, we're going to go through example number 3 from section 7.4 using substitution strategy to solve a system of linear equations. So by the time you're done this, you should be able to isolate any variable in a system and solve a system of linear equations by substituting in. Let's head on over to example 3. All right, so solve this linear system by substitution. Okay, so step 1. Identify our variable. I'm going to just write it. Identify a variable that's easy to solve, easy to isolate, and isolate it. Haha, we got lucky here. We've already got one isolated. Beautiful. So we already have our variable isolated. So step 1 is done. Step 2, substitute that in to the other equation. So we're going to take this right here and put it in for y in our other equation. Now, I am not touching the fractions here yet. We're going to deal with the fractions. So we take this 1/4 x minus 3/8 and we substitute into the other equation in for y because that is what y equals. So we've got, I'm probably going to need to put number 2 up here because it might take a little space. So we've got 1/2 x minus 4/5. Now instead of putting y in here, we put what y equals. 1/4 x minus 3/8, and that equals minus 2. So step 2 is substituted into the other equation. So this is equation 1 and equation 2. So we took equation 2 and substituted in equation 1. Step 3, solve. So now we can find out what x is equal to. So we multiply the 4/5 in to here. Now 4/5 times 1/4 is equal to 1/5. So we're going to get 1/2 x minus 1/5 x. Now 4/5 times 3/8 is going to be plus 3/10 is equal to minus 2. Now if you want to see that, I'll just do it down here just so you see negative 4/5 times negative 3/8. And you can see how that is going to be a positive. And the 4, I cross that off and put a 1 there, and I cross that out and put a 2 there, and I get 3/10 because 1 times 3 is 3, 5 times 2 is 10. All right. Now, I can do one of two things. I can get a common denominator so I can add those. Or I can multiply everything by 10 and get rid of my fractions altogether here. So I'm going to multiply everything by 10. So 10 times 1/2 x will be 5x. 10 times negative 1/5 x will be negative 2x. 10 times 3/10 will be plus 3 equals negative 20. So I was able to get rid of all my fractions by multiplying by 10 because 2, 5, and 10 are all factors of 10. 10 is the least common multiple of 2, 5, and 10. All right, now this is pretty easy. 5x minus 2x is 3x. Plus 3 is equal to negative 20. 3x is equal to negative 23. And x is equal to negative 23/3. That's what x is equal to. Negative 23/3. And I leave that as a fraction. So the x value in my solution is going to be negative 23/3. Right, now I've solved 4. Now I substituted in to find the other variable. Sub in to find other variable. So I've got to substitute this negative 23 over 3 in for x in one of these two equations. I'm going to choose equation number 2, because equation number 2 is a little bit simpler. So I'm going to put this guy back into equation number 2. So y is equal to 1/4 times negative 23 over 3 minus 3/8. So I do y is equal to negative 23 over 12 minus 3/8. Okay, now if you have an ABC button on your calculator, you'll want to use that for this. Or if you're going to try to do it in your head like I'm going to, my least common multiple of 12 and 8 is 24. So you got to get to be out of 24. So 8 is, so this is 9/24. And this will be negative 46/24. So y is equal to, well, I subtract those and I get negative, 55 over 24. And that's my y. Hui. Is this correct or not? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this guy. We're going to verify it using Desmos. So we're going to put these equations into Desmos and see where they cross and see if we get the answer here. Now I actually have to write these equations down quickly. Now let's see what we get. So I'm going to go to Desmos. It's right here. And the beauty of Desmos is that you can just type everything in as it looks. So 1/1/2, right arrow key, x, minus 4/5, 4 divided by 5, y, equals minus 2. There's our first equation. Oh boy. Our second equation is y equals 1/4 x minus 3/8. Y equals 1 divided by 4 x. Nope. 1 divided by 4 times x minus 3 divided by 8. And we get an answer somewhere in there. Hey. Negative 7.6667 and negative 2.92. Negative 7.6667 and negative 2.292. Okay, let's head back and let's look at. Is that what this equals? Well, to my eye, it looks like it. So let's do negative 23 divided by 3. It's negative 6.667. Negative 7.66 repeating 6. That's good. So our first one was correct. Let's try negative 55 divided by 24. 2.29 negative. These are the correct answers. Now, you get exact values if you maintain the fractions and you don't change the fractions into decimals. That is a really important skill to have in algebra, is not to have to change fractions into decimals, but to be able to work with fractions. Now, you can get rid of fractions like this. This is a nice feature to be able to do, is to get rid of the fractions, but don't change them into decimals. All right. If you have any questions about this is pretty complicated stuff. Contact me. Make sure you practice your textbook work. And thank you for watching.